Gentlemen, listen up. Never talk about your relationship. There's a common mistake many men make that seems innocent, perfectly innocent on the surface. It is talking too much about your private relationship. Most relationships don't break because of one big betrayal or one explosive argument. They wear away, bit by bit, through small leaks that go unseen. One of them is giving too many people information about something that should remain kept private. Now, I'm not telling you in this video to hide your partner or to keep secrets. I'm absolutely not saying cut yourself off from family or pretend like nothing ever goes wrong in your relationship. All I'm saying, and I need you to understand, is that most relationships are weakened by unnecessary outside views. The more other voices involved, the harder it becomes to hear your own. Stephanie here. Welcome. So this video is for men who want strong, stable relationships without unnecessary drama. I'm going to break down a few things. Number 1, why your silence is a complete advantage. 2, the 3 ways your relationship can become polluted. And 3, the only time it's okay to share anything about your relationship with other people. If you've ever felt like things changed without a clear reason, this might help you see why. Let's get started. Number 1, what silence really means. When most people hear the word silence, they think avoidance, distance, or secrecy. They believe something is being hidden or ignored, and that's not what silence means in a healthy relationship. Now, silence, when used correctly, doesn't mean pulling away from your partner. It simply means keeping things private. It's the clear decision to protect something important from unnecessary exposure. As I said, when you care about something, you don't place it in front of everyone for commentary, judgment, or influence. Pay attention. You protect it. You limit access. You decide who gets close access and who doesn't. Strong men understand this naturally. They don't feel the need to explain their relationship to other people, seek approval, or any of that. In fact, they don't need constant support or reassurance from outside voices. They are okay letting their relationship exist without commentary running all the time. Silence is not a lack of communication. It's a decision about where communication should happen. A relationship is not a public display. It's a private system. And systems work best when they're not under constant meddling by people who are not a part of them. Many people believe that talking more automatically makes things healthier, right? Sometimes they confuse openness with telling too much and strength with constantly explaining yourself. They believe that being emotionally mature means telling everyone everything. Real strength, however, looks like good judgment. It's knowing what should stay inside your relationship, what should be talked about directly, and what does not need an outside opinion. Silence is emotional control. It means you don't react without thinking. You don't complain in moments of frustration. You don't invite chaos into situations that require clarity. Instead, you take charge of regulating yourself before involving anyone else. When you lead with this kind of silence, something powerful happens. Your woman starts to feel safe because she knows that her private moments are protected. She knows her mistakes will not be shared easily, and she knows that problems will not turn into gossip. That sense of protection builds trust, and trust doesn't come from talking more. It comes from knowing that when things are not perfect, they're still going to be handled with care. Silence, used correctly, becomes a form of leadership. You see, it will communicate confidence without words. It says you can handle complicated things, that you don't need others' opinions, that you don't require an approving crowd to feel secure in your relationship. That kind of energy will totally change the relationship dynamic. What do you think about this so far? Have you experienced? Comment your views below and keep watching. The most important parts are coming up. Once you understand what silence really is, it becomes clear why most relationships fail loudly. They often fail through pollution. Let me share in the next step the 3 ways relationships become polluted. When a relationship starts to weaken, it seldom happens all at once. Most of the damage is quiet, soft, gradual. It starts when things that should stay contained begin spilling outward. Once that happens, the relationship stops being guided from the inside and starts being shaped by external forces. So, like I said, let me share 3 common ways this contamination happens, right? The first is through third-party opinions. The moment other people are invited into your relationship, they begin forming opinions about something they truly don't understand. They don't live inside the relationship. Neither do they experience the daily mood, the effort, the intention, right? They only receive pieces, and these are usually delivered during moments of frustration and conflict. And because of that, their understanding of your other half or your partner is often built on her worst moments and not her whole character. Even if things improve later, their opinions rarely get better or change. You see, people always cling to the first version of the story they hear, and over time, this changes how you think. You stop relying on your own judgment and start worrying about how others will interpret your choices. Instead of leading from clarity, you begin filtering decisions through possible reactions that you're going to get, and at that point, authority is lost from the relationship. You see, a relationship doesn't need a jury, and the moment it has one, its path will become compromised. 2. Emotional venting. Relationships become contaminated through emotional venting. This one is especially misleading because it actually feels productive. Venting looks like emotional honesty, but most of the time, it's simply letting emotions out. When you vent, you're not solving the issue, you're releasing tension by retelling the story. Each retelling makes stronger the emotional charge attached to the problem, rather than dissolving it. You see, your mind can't quite tell the difference between something happening once and something being replayed repeatedly. So each time you vent, the frustration is practiced and strengthened over time. This creates an unplanned bond between you and the people you vent to, and it's built around problems that belong inside the relationship. Meanwhile, the relationship itself begins to feel more distant. You may not notice the shift, but your partner will. Your patience will grow less. The warmth that you share with them will disappear. Your very being will change. She begins to sense that emotional closeness is being shared elsewhere, and venting teaches your nervous system to seek relief outside the relationship instead of learning how to regulate yourself and repair things directly. So each time that happens, disconnection is repeated instead of resolution. Which of these contamination points have you seen happen? Share your story in the comments below. Your experience helps others. The third contamination point is performance and image. Now, once other people are watching your relationship, it stops being lived honestly, and it starts being managed, staged, and the performance sets in. Decisions are no longer based on agreement, but on how it will look to other people. You begin to consider how things look rather than how they feel or whether they're working, right? Ego enters where truth should be. This has caused people to stay in relationships longer than they should or leave later than they need to. The fear of what people will say replaces clarity. The relationship becomes something to uphold publicly rather than something to look at privately. The moment a relationship needs onlookers to survive, it begins to lie to protect its image. Now, all of these 3 contamination points share the same outcome. Authority is given away. Instead of the relationship being guided by the 2 people inside of it, it becomes influenced by the voices that have almost no stake in how the relationship thrives. Strong relationships remain strong because they stay within themselves. Privacy is not secrecy. Privacy is power. Did you find this part revealing? Don't forget to like this video and share your opinions in the comments below. Subscribe to Stephanie for more truths about the manipulated mind in relationships. So, why is your silence so powerful? When silence is used correctly, it doesn't weaken a relationship, it strengthens it. Silence creates order where there is chaos. One of the first things silence does is it creates emotional security. When a relationship is kept private, both people feel less watched. There's a sense that mistakes will not be announced, conflicts will not become tales, vulnerable moments will not be shared without thought. It allows both of you to be imperfect without the fear of others' opinions. Emotional safety is not built by talking more, it's built by knowing that when things are messy, they're still guarded. Silence also builds trust. When a woman knows that her relationship is not being discussed with friends, coworkers, family members every time that there's a problem, she understands that she is being handled with care. She feels special rather than exposed. And over time, it will create a deeper sense of loyalty because she knows the relationship is a place of containment, not outside talk. Silence keeps attraction. When a man does not rush to tell every feeling or seek outside approval, he maintains a calm presence. He signals that he can be okay with discomfort, control himself, lead through the unknown, and that calm confidence is felt almost right away. Silence creates respect, and respect is the base of lasting attraction. Silence makes conflict resolution better. When fewer people are involved, problems are handled faster and more openly. There's no need to explain positions to outsiders or protect an image that's already been shared. Conversations stay focused on answers rather than stories. Issues are addressed directly instead of being worked out indirectly through other people's views. It lowers resentment. It prevents small problems from growing into big fractures that end your relationship. Silence keeps accountability where it belongs. When you don't vent, gossip, or overshare, you're forced to develop emotional control. You learn how to pause instead of lash out, how to think instead of get angry, how to speak with purpose instead of frustration. How does the idea of using silence to build trust and attraction sit with you? Do you agree or disagree? Let's talk about it in the comments. Silence also protects closeness. Closeness thrives in spaces that feel only for you two and contained. When everything about a relationship is shared, closeness becomes weaker. When private moments stay private, they keep their meaning. There's a sense of us that can't exist when too many people are involved at a deeper level. Also, silence communicates leadership. You see, it signals that the relationship is being guided from the inside and not being pushed by outside forces. It says that decisions will be made based on what works for you too, rather than what others like. It creates stability because stability comes from knowing that the relationship doesn't need spectators to survive. Listen, if this is true for you, do me a favor and subscribe. We're dedicated this year with more of such videos. Stay informed. Number 4, the special case to the rule. There are times when clarity is difficult to see clearly from inside the situation, and sometimes an outside view honestly can help bring back some kind of balance. Now, this rule is straightforward. Very few people should have access to your relationship, and even fewer should have access to its problems. This access must be earned through shown neutrality, emotional maturity, care. So these are people who don't take sides, don't make bigger drama, and don't confuse emotional comfort for good advice. Now, even when you choose to involve an outsider, the way you involve them matters, okay? It's not venting. It's not emotional unloading. It's not an invitation for personal attacks or one-sided talk. The purpose is clarity, not being told you're right. So the goal is to understand your part, not to build your argument against your partner. A useful question to ask before involving anyone is whether the conversation will help the relationship forward or simply make you feel better right now. That's a good way to check it. You see, if it's only about feeling better to help you feel relieved, it will most likely come at a price of long-term connection. The exception rule also requires clear restraint. I mean, just because someone is trusted doesn't mean they need complete access to your relationship. You can share the situation without sharing every single bit. You can seek views without handing over the heart of the relationship. Limits within boundaries are part of leadership. What's one personal boundary you protect in your relationships? Tell us in the comments below. You see, another important part of the exception rule is when you act, and I can't end this video without talking about it. Seeking input in the middle of the moment almost always leads to a twisted view. Strong men learn to wait first. They regulate themselves before involving anyone else. When the emotional storm has settled, your perspective will become clearer, and the need for outside input actually would often disappear altogether. You see, in the end, the exception rule exists to preserve authority inside the relationship. Outside voices should clarify, not contaminate. They should support fixing things, not practice resentment. When used rarely and on purpose, outside input can strengthen a relationship. When you use it without care, it'll weaken it. Silence, therefore, is recognizing that access to your relationship is a special honor and not a right. Not everyone deserves a best view, and not every problem needs a watcher. Men who understand this don't feel the need to explain their relationships to anyone. They protect them, they lead without noise, and because of that, their relationships last longer and feel easier. Was this video helpful for you? Did the exception to the rule make sense? Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. If this guidance on the manipulated mind resonated with you, support this work. Smash the like button, share this video with someone who needs to hear it, and subscribe to Stephanie for more. Your engagement helps protect more relationships. Cheers!